Well, here I am. I don't know about the rest, I'm sure. We're having real problems again today. And, after we lovingly put everything together in our 3 week break, and it immediately breaks down. And I must say, it's disheartening to say the least. But there we are. That's television. You have to motor on. Let's see what we can make of it. Who knows? Maybe a silk purse might come out of a sow's ear. It might. And again, it might not. Hear me talk. I don't know how to stop the video because you can't see it. No? Ah, ah, oh, what about that? What about that? At least you can hear me. And we uh, bring you some stuff this morning. It's tough going. It is tough going. Believe me. It's just, uh, when these things decide to play up, boy, do they play up. And we have to just live with them to some extent. We've been fiddling around for 7 minutes now, and only now are we able to talk to you. But nonetheless, we will talk to you, and we'll try to do what we would normally do. We will bring you the newspaper headlines to begin with before we actually start to look at other things. The stabbing in Croydon, and it, it just is starting to bring back all the nightmares that we had under Cressida Dick. Was it 10 stabbings a day or something of the sort? And this is in South London, of course, Croydon. The headline in the Metro is Machete Revenge on Bus to School. And it's a number of papers have covered the killing of a 15-year-old girl stabbed on her way to school in Croydon in South London on yesterday morning. The Metro reports that the attack took place after uh, after a row on a double-decker bus. Wow, some revenge. The Sun, horror on a school bus. Girl 15 is knifed to death, saving a pal. The Sun reports that the attack took place around 8:30 a.m. Near the Wick shopping centre. The paper says 2 people made efforts to save the girl, but she died 50 minutes later. It adds that a 17-year-old boy was later arrested on a tram around 5 minutes away and is being held on suspicion of murder. The Daily Express, hero girl 15 killed trying to save a friend. The girl was a pupil at a local private school, according to the Daily Express. The paper also carries a picture of forensic workers gathering evidence at the scene. The Daily Mail, stabbed to death in her uniform on the way to school. A 15-year-old pupil at private school knifed in the neck as she stepped in to protect her friend. Then police arrested a boy aged 17. The Mail quoted the Met Chief Superintendent, Andy Britton, who described the attack as every parent's worst nightmare. And the Mirror is knife crime epidemic. A 15-year-old girl killed on her way to school. Another young life gone in seconds. The lives of another family shattered. This is a national emergency. The government must act now. Every parent's nightmare, it says. The girl is described as the latest victim of our knife crime epidemic. Another young life gone in seconds. The lives of another family shattered. This is a national emergency. The government must act. All the words of the Daily Mirror. The Daily Telegraph. An officer who shot a jailbreak gangster faces the sack. The Daily Telegraph reports that a firearm officer seeing in the Metropolitan Police Force faces the sack. Sorry, I'll read that again. A firearms officer serving in the Metropolitan Police Force faces the sack over the killing of a gangster who was taking part in a foiled jailbreak 8 years ago. The paper says the unarmed officer was cleared of criminal wrongdoing after the shooting of Jermaine Baker, who at the time was preparing to spring two prisoners from a cell. He was held on a charge of misconduct, and a hearing in following it, the decision by hundreds of armed officers in the Met to lay down their weapons over the weekend after a colleague was charged with murder in the federal. It's you're right. It's tied to the fact that the police rebelled over the weekend. Labour U-turns on plans to axe private school charity status. All right, Keir Starmer announced yesterday that he was going to tax and put VAT on and take away charitable status of private schools. 24 hours later, well, let's give him credit for reacting to an absolute outcry. And the Labour has done a U-turn and is no longer going to do that. It's dropped a plan to remove a private school's charitable status if it wins the next election. Earlier reports suggest the party would introduce the change to allow it to charge private schools the 20% VAT rate. The paper says Labour still wants to impose the VAT charge on fees, but the concerns were raised that removing the charitable status would face legal challenges and threaten other organizations in the charity sector. Let's see. Yeah. I hope you can see my face. Some of the cynicism with which I quite often face some of these headlines. The Times. Labour set to close tax loopholes to fund a £4 billion war chest. The Times reports that Home Secretary Suella Braverman has been authorised by Dominic Street to float the prospect of leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. The paper says the move would be intended to be wanting to send us a warning, the European Court of Human Rights, not to block government plans to deport asylum seekers in the UK to Rwanda. She made the speech in Washington, in Texas. Ms. Braverman said she rejected the notion that a country cannot be expected to respect human rights if it is not signed up to an international human rights organization. To The Guardian, HMRC investigating tax affairs of one Tory party's largest donor. Oh dear. The tax man's involved. HMRC is investigating the tax affairs of one of the Conservative Party's biggest and most influential donors. That's what The Guardian is saying. The paper says the agency has been investigating the affairs of Lord Bamford, who runs JCB, one of the UK's best-known manufacturer, for 3 years. It says the industry calls into question whether the Tories should accept funds from the peer in the run-up to the general election, and may also cast a shadow over the more than £10 million he and his family have given to the party over the past 20 years. Ooh. The FT. City watchdog probes private market valuations as borrowing costs pick up. What's that all about? The Financial Times reports that the City watchdog, the Financial Conduct Authority, is preparing to launch a sweeping review of valuations in private markets amid fears over the impact of higher borrowing costs. The paper says global regulators are becoming increasingly uneasy about the potential for blow-ups in private assets and other markets following the abrupt reversal of more than a decade of low interest rates. The review will look at issues including who within a firm is accountable for evaluations, and how information is about evaluations is passed up to senior figures and the governance procedure place. The Daily Star, come on, Star, give us a bit of a cheer. Now eggheads unite to sort out our dodgy teeth. Grow your own. Grow your own natters, it says. A number of papers cover the killing of a 15-year-old girl, right? And the Daily Star reports the Japanese scientists a way to regrow teeth. Let's see if we can take a look at the weather. Because we've been told to expect some lousy weather, which sounds spry, I guess. So we better see what is going on. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to hit 19 degrees today, and for the next few days, over the weekend and the beginning of next week, it's going to remain much the same. 20 degrees tomorrow, Friday. 21 degrees Monday. 19 degrees Tuesday. 19 degrees Wednesday. 19 degrees Thursday, and 20 degrees Friday. So it's going to be at lunchtime, 1 o'clock or so, which will stretch into the afternoon, but not significantly so. And we are going to have a moderate breeze. So not an unpleasant day. Not an unpleasant day at all. So there we are. That's the present situation. Let's just take a pause for reflection for a moment of the stabbing of this young lady. We went through a couple of years ago almost a couple of stabbings a day in London. Excuse me for drinking on the job, but Parkinson's dries my mouth out, and it just helps me to talk. Oh God, some people would say, "Isn't there a way of stopping him?" Well, I suppose there is, but that's not one of them. I fight Parkinson's like crazy. I just don't let it get me down. But nonetheless, the physical effects I do feel. I can't help it. It's something I can't do much about. Okay. What I was saying is that we had a spate, not a spate, but a steady diet of stabbings in London. I mean, it reached almost one a day. And then it has dropped off just a little bit of late. Now it seems this must have been a result of some form of grudge or gang warfare, and it's back again on our doorstep, and it's something that we really need to eradicate. The mere fact that we've got a society where youngsters feel quite happy taking out a machete or a knife or some other means of stabbing and casually just stab somebody to death. Oh, that's all right then. We just, no civilized society can have that. And we've got to do something about it. Yeah, I have to say, whether she's right or wrong, I got a sneaking regard for Sue Braverman, the present Home Secretary. She is not afraid to call a spade, even though she knows that a whole bunch of hubris will be poured on her head. And she is not afraid to try and take action as much as she's allowed to with some of the funny things that we've signed up to over the last few years. There is some signs that something is being done about it, but not fast enough. If I'm going to be stabbed when I walk out of this hotel this afternoon, I don't want to be told that there's legislation in the works which in 2 or 3 years' time might make that out of law, out of illegal. Just not. I want action now because death is very imminent. This poor girl's parents must be looking at all the talk and the baffle gab that goes on and say, but it's my daughter. She's dead. She's dead now. What are you thinking of doing about it? And the answer is that more talk. And it may be that George stops war, but it's not stopping domestic violence. We've got more criminals on the streets than you can shake a stick at, and nothing is being done to adjust the situation. And even when it is, somebody with some political clout, some political axe to grind, comes along and says, "Oh, you can't do that. I'm sorry, some things have to be sacrificed." And if in fact we tend to move just a little bit to the right to do it, then I'm all for it. It's just ridiculous that we walk the streets in fear. I spent 15 years in Northern Ireland, so don't tell me about walking on the streets in fear. And it's a very uneasy feeling. We need to talk about it. Yes, indeed. We don't want arbitrary decisions made, but we've had plenty of time to talk about this and think about it. And plenty of time to do it at the Shire level too. There's no sense or no real reason in the world why our local politicians shouldn't dibble into the law and order market. After all, damn it, we pay the council tax, a special levy to keep the police going. We've got a commissioner who I haven't heard much from. Is Katie Byrne, is it? I wanted to say Katie Price. We've got the means of curbing this or attempting to curb it, and we just don't use them for fear that we'll be criticised. Well, we need people who will stand up and be counted. God, in this business, we take stick from everybody we know. Everybody knows how to operate a television station. Everybody knows how to make a television program. Why? Because they watch television. That's their sole credential. And that's why we're sitting at some sort of animal frog. In case some of the others turn out to be grand mamas, then we had better start to think about stamping our feet and taking this issue a bit more seriously. It's now 8:29, and if I could, I would show you some other material, but it looked on how to make these things work today. And it's another case, entire morning being upset. I think let's let you know who we are. It hasn't. Thank goodness for that, because I wouldn't have a clue how to stop it. The summer is beginning to round up. We normally take September to be the transfer month. Children go back to school during this period. People supposedly return to their offices, although there's still huge concern about people working from home. Huge gaps in the labor because nobody wants to work. Oh, I would love not to work. Right mess that we get here for sometimes. I'd love not to work. Leave my ulcer alone. But it is not viable, not possible. So we have a number of police letting us know what's going on, which is very noble. But let's not take their eye off the ball. And the prime reason that we here to represent you, if you like. And when that goes wrong, right. Oh dear. What happened there? Interesting thing here, because you see the activity of people going in and out of the courthouse, and they go in bunches. As the bad guys and then the barristers. Then you sometimes see the solicitors hurrying in, then the staff, and then some bad guys coming out. It's a right pantomime, and very interesting it is in the main. If you're a people watcher, like me, I would like to. I sometimes do. It takes time. It's 8:33, and we got another 3 or 4 minutes yet before we have to relinquish first hour of the day. And I look at some of the inside stories because sometimes they're amusing, sometimes they're useful, and sometimes they are there to divert attention from some people who have been particularly naughty. The one here on the inside page of the mail is a prawn cocktail with steak and chips. That's our favorite dinner. It outlines what we're eating nowadays. And our 3-course feast would be starters, a prawn cocktail, a spring roll, a tortata soup, and spring rolls, I mentioned. Oh, there we are. We're back. And it has to have that little vinegary taste. That's dreadful to admit, isn't it? Absolutely dreadful. Particularly when people put floats down in front of you and think that they're doing you a great favour. Main courses, we're eating a medium to rare steak. Well, I can't get my teeth into steak anymore. I have to admit that. So that wouldn't be one of my first choices. And lasagna. Yeah. What is the fascination this country has with pizza and pasta? Roast chicken. Now you're getting into more my territory. Beer, battered fish and chips. Yay! And what's the last one? Sausage mash and onion gravy. Woohoo! Well, yes, I could go for that. Puddings, apple crumble, and custard. Mm-hmm. Ice cream. Yes, ma'am. That's for me. Lemon cheesecake. Yeah. Yeah, you can. It's fish rolls. Yeah. A favorite side is not very elegant anymore, are we? And I think that this one is not on taste; it's on volume. Yeah. They said, "Oh, here's one." I feel slightly let down on this one because I'm a great fan of Lewis, the television series about the copper that took over from Morse, and whose patch was Oxford University. And he got a new sidekick, Lawrence Fox, a very tall, gangly actor who turns out to be a right wing activist. And he gets himself into trouble because he's got a very loose lip. He said this time is uh, live on air. Says live on air. Uh, 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 there we go. So, Lawrence Fox is in the hot seat. Apparently, he made some vulgar sexual remarks, uh, and um, he was on the new news channel at GB News, and now, of course, the powers that be are investigating those. It's never ending. Ofcom confirmed it had received a number of complaints and was assessing these complaints against our broadcast rules. It added it would publish publish the publish the outcome as quickly as possible. Oh, yeah, so you got that. Yes, yes. Uh, the, the double page spread inside about the young lady that was stabbed to death and her background. And uh, Sharon Osbourne says she's given. They made her look two things. She said, and there's a story that we covered yesterday. Of course, it sometimes takes a little time to get through to the newspapers. Is that a BA pilot snorted cocaine off a topless woman before trying to fly back to the UK. Whee! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I, I'm not particularly keen on a plane being flown by somebody who's a druggie, if you want to call it that, and somebody who is very keen on snorting the drug from a topless woman. And he's admitted that he's been a very naughty boy, very, very naughty boy indeed. Right. What else do we have? Oh, this very, very big, another controversial story, but it's in the form of a what should we say, a larger story that's been turned into a debate, and that is that Britain can't give up on oil and gas, despite the activities of the eco zealots. Is the experts say we give up on those commodities, and we've had it. We have had it. So those are a few of the things that are scattered on the inside pages. Uh, uh, Mick Jagger is getting in the act again, saying that Jerry Hall. He says, "I'm not going to leave the 400 million pounds I've got. I'm not going to leave it to charity. I'm going to leave it to charity and not my children." And Stephen Glover writes on the inside of the Mail, if Rishi scrapped inheritance tax, he'd transform Tory fortunes and blow a hole in We keep. I don't know whether it's substandard stuff or why this happens. It happens. It does, and you just have to live with us. I'm afraid. Throughout the day, we'll try and truncate the day a bit to spare the pain. But there we are. We've got off to. I was going to say a flying start. Yes, if you like snorting drugs off the bare breasts of a woman. It was a flying start. Naughty BA part. Okie dokie. We'll say toodle pip, and then we'll be back. It's approximately 9 o'clock. Is that correct? Yes, 9 o'clock. Boobity. Let's see how we fare with these things. Quick roll ahead. We'll see you in 15 minutes.